Hello, Tribe in Transition. This is Rose Diamond. And I want to start with an apology that I haven't been very active in the last 2 or 3 months in the Tribe in Transition community. I have been working very hard behind the scenes, but like I'm sure all of us, and like you, all of us, have been through a consciousness shift during the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown. And I find that when I'm going through a shift such as that it's not the time for me to be out in the world. It's a time for me to be really sitting with myself and um, getting stabilized in a new state of consciousness, understanding what's going on for me internally, understanding my new relationship with the world. So I think that's a really good lesson, that there are times when we flow naturally into the world and into connection and into conversation with others, to co-creation. And there are also times when we need to withdraw internally, to be in our own sanctuary space, to be with ourselves. And I think honoring, respecting this sort of natural in-breath and out-breath is part of the process of transformation, and it's part of that transition into what some people call the new paradigm consciousness, the new way of being, the new way of doing, which is not to push anything, not to push towards any agenda or any way of of thinking that the way things should be, but rather to listen, to stay very connected with ourselves and our own natural rhythm, the own natural rhythm of our in-breath and out-breath, our natural creative rhythm. So that's what I've been doing. And now I'm ready now to re-engage with you, and hopefully in a more active way, to start getting some conversations happening, because that's what Tribe in Transition is about. It's about having the conversation. Because I want to really, over the next few days, I'm going to be doing videos every day where I'm going to share some of my own experience of the consciousness shift I went through over the last 6 months. And I'm not doing that because I think this is the truth or this is something that's been happening for everybody. I'm doing that because that's my experience, and I always start from my experience. And your experience will be different because you're you. We're all coming from a different perspective. But in sharing my experience and inviting you to share yours, somehow we get to a bigger truth. If we really come together in community, in group, in sacred space, to listen deeply to ourselves and each other, then we can arrive at a bigger truth of our human experience. It's so important for us to be doing that right now, because we're going through a massive transition as a species. We're really on a life-death edge now. And somehow we're holding that balance between the urgency. Even on the national news yesterday, it is now being recognized that nature is threatened to the point where we have to stand up and do something and take notice. Hallelujah! It's finally arrived in the media. But the fact that it's finally arrived in the media means that we really are at a very urgent state of our development as a species. This is make or break stuff. But at the same time as experiencing that urgency, the new way of being, new way of consciousness is bringing us into a place of stillness, deep listening, connecting with our soul, wisdom, and guidance. And that cannot be done from a state of urgency. So we're living, those of us who are on a conscious path are living this paradox of, we really need to do something. And no. We're not doing something in the old way. We're doing something from a state of stillness, silence, quietude, tranquility, listening to self, listening to others, soul wisdom, sharing our wisdom, finding a bigger wisdom together. So, as I said, over the next few days, I will be sharing more videos about the consciousness shift that I've been through, And I will be posting these on the Tribe in Transition Facebook community. I'll be sending them the links to, if you're in my my community but not part of the Facebook group, I'll be sending the links to you as well. So I really want to encourage us now to come together as a Tribe in Transition community to have these conversations. So one of what I've been doing while I've been in also sort of integrating my consciousness shift in terms of my creative work is that I've been working very hard to complete the Sitting with Death and Choosing Life conversation resources. And this is a set of 5 ebooks full of conversations with different practitioners about grief, how we can transform grief, loss, how we can understand the soul journey that we're on and the soul work that we're called to do, how we can transmute our grief for the world, how we can actually really allow that in without it debilitating us or causing us to be so terrified that we can't do anything, how we can find a place of creative, passionate, sacred activism out of our grief for the world. And then the final part is choosing life. What does it actually mean to choose life? Because if we sit with death, it's an opportunity to choose life, to choose to be fully aligned with life, with the life force, with our soul wisdom. So this is a movement from grief and practicing the skills of sitting with death and grieving, letting go of loss, understanding why we're here on a soul level, moving into that bigger global aspect of our humanity and how we can contribute to a future which is going to be worth living for your children and grandchildren. And how we then choose life, how we choose to be fully aligned with life and soul. So that's what I've been working on. And that's what I want to share with you over the coming months. So thank you for listening today. And I will be back again tomorrow with the next part of this, which I'll be diving a bit deeper into the whole process of consciousness shift and the shift that happens in terms of our perceptions of the world, our sense of identity, our knowing about what we're here for, and our relationships. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.